Hello everyone, this is Doc ID. I hope everybody's doing good. I know I've been out for some time, but now we got some really good topics that are going to start coming up. And the first one I'm going to talk about is answering key questions about the coronavirus vaccine itself. I know a lot of people have a lot of questions. Hopefully this topic will answer those questions. And then after that, we're going to have some interesting talks about the herd immunity and then the vaccine itself. So don't forget to subscribe and like, and let's get moving. So we're going to talk about today answering key questions about COVID-19 vaccines. This was an article that came out in JAMA, published online on October 20th. So the US government has actually been investing in rapid development of vaccines. Currently in the US, there are 4 vaccine candidates that are going on, and as you know, one or more of these vaccines will be available very soon, shortly. So let's go on to our first question. How much does a vaccine reduce the risk of COVID-19 and its complications? So the US Food and Drug Administration, also known as the FDA, is an expectation for licensure that a COVID-19 vaccine would prevent disease or disease its severity and at least 50% of the people who are vaccinated. So when we review these results of a study, it is important to note that there is a margin of error in estimating the percentage of cases or complications prevented. So what does this mean? For example, if a study shows there's a reduction in disease from 100 cases in the placebo group to 50 cases in those vaccinated, this difference would meet the standard of 50%. But it's important to explain to people the uncertainty surrounding that value. So remember, while the study shows that it is a 50% reduction in illness, the confidence interval for the efficacy estimate might be between 30 to 80%, meaning efficacy may be as low as 30% or it could be high as 80%. So that's why it's important to understand whether vaccine reduces not only but mild but also more severe disease as well. Moving on to our next question, how safe is a vaccine candidate? In general, doctors will want to know how safety was evaluated, including whether studies have been completed as planned and properly followed up for the time period sufficient to detect most safety issues, usually about 2 months. It is also important for vaccine developers to present all safety data, also including from outside the US. So it is likely that all vaccinations are going to have some sort of adverse events, usually mild like soreness at the injection site. You could have fever, fatigue, and some myalgias. Now, although these symptoms can be unpleasant, but as long as they're not really severe and they go away quickly and patients are told that these are some of the side effects that you're going to have, these symptoms are usually not worrisome unless they lead to an additional healthcare encounters. Usually more serious reactions such as unexplained neurologic or inflammatory process, those are the ones that would raise concern. So the next question, will the vaccine be effective for all patients? So COVID-19 is actually very common and severe among individuals, often underrepresented in clinical trials, which include older individuals, people with chronic illnesses, and also people in racial, ethnic minority populations. Different groups may not have the same responses to vaccination. So when results do become available, it'll be important to evaluate the characteristics of people included in the trial and determine whether they are similar to patients seen in the practice settings. Next question would be, was important information made public and reviewed by independent experts? The answer to that is, it is actually very important to know whether all relevant information that might support or contradict the findings of a vaccine trial has been made public. It is also very important that the study has been reviewed by experts without personal or financial interests in the research, as done by major medical journals. Moving on to the next question, is a vaccine licensed or provided under an emergency use authorization? So the FDA has a long track record of licensing vaccines that have protected individuals against, for example, diseases like measles, polio, pneumonia, etc. However, the FDA could make an as yet unapproved vaccine available through what we call the emergency use authorization. EUAs only require FDA determined product may be effective and that benefits are likely to outweigh risks. So one should really look in some circumstances as an EUA may be actually appropriate. For example, if we have substantial data demonstrating safety and efficacy may be available, but it may take additional months for the developer to submit all documentation to the FDA, for the FDA to review this data, and then go on and approve it. If the vaccine is released under a EUA, doctors should inform their patients that the vaccine is not FDA licensed. However, their key questions will include why the vaccine is not licensed and what information FDA may be waiting for. If clinical trials have not been completed, there will be questions about how much confidence exists regarding the estimated efficacy. And then other things are whether adequate safety data from all participants have been analyzed and whether FDA has ensured the vaccine meets manufacturing and quality standards. After the FDA makes a determination, the CDC and the ACIP normally provide recommendations about who should receive a vaccine. So moving on to our next question, will all COVID-19 vaccines be the same? Well, the answer to that is really different vaccines are likely going to perform differently. The clinicians will need to be aware of any differences between vaccines, including their dose numbers and schedules, as well as safety and efficacy. Next question would be, can vaccinated people stop worrying about COVID-19? While a vaccine will help protect individual patients and those around them, a large proportion of the population must be immunized and protected before transmission is substantially reduced. No vaccine will be 100% effective, and a vaccine that protects against developing clinical illness may not prevent transmission to others. We also know the duration of naturally occurring immunity to infection with SARS coronavirus 2 is actually unknown and may wane with time. Therefore, the likely duration of protection by new COVID-19 vaccines is really going to be unknown. All right, guys, I hope you guys liked the topic that we talked about. We have some really more interesting stuff coming up. I'm going to talk about herd immunity. I'm going to talk about the vaccine itself. And then we're also going to see me getting the shot. And I'm going to tell you how it feels 24 hours later afterwards as well. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. Till next time.